Hi everyone, this is Miss Mary and welcome to Super Skills for Grownups. In our next kids session, we are going to be talking about the letter G. We'll talk about how to form an uppercase and a lowercase g, the two ways that a G can sound, and our word of the week is going to be the letter G, goat. Okay? And to go with our word of the week, we'll be reading the story Goat's Coat by Tom Percival. It's a story about a little goat named Alfonso, who has a brand new coat he's very proud of, but his friends all have problems, his forest friends, and he needs to use his new coat to help them solve it. And at the end of the story, his friends get together and get him something new to wear, a sweater, which he's very happy with, and which in our activity, we're going to make our own little Alfonso, and we're going to wrap some yarn or string, whatever you happen to have, to make his sweater. And this wrapping activity is a really good fine motor skill. So before we start talking about how to help your child with the activity, I want to talk a little bit about a genre of picture book that we haven't talked about yet, which is the wordless picture book. It's books that don't, here's an example. This is A Ball for Daisy by Chris Rashka. And wordless picture books, as they say, don't have very little, minimal or no words. And Goat's Coat is not one of these books because those books don't translate super well to a virtual story time, although they can work well in a physical story time. And they're wonderful books to share with your child at home. Wordless picture books can, even though it seems counterintuitive, they can really help your child develop early literacy skills, because what is literacy, what is reading, but interpreting symbols, which are the words. And when you're looking at a wordless picture book, the symbols are visual symbols, they're graphic images, but they still need to be understood and interpreted. So that skill translates from a visual image to a linguistic unit, a word. So when your child looks with you at a wordless picture book, they need to pay close attention to the expressions of the characters and to the images themselves, and they're going to draw the meaning of the book, of the story, from those images. This will help them with their prediction skills and their inference skills, and they need to pay attention to the sequence things happen in, what's the order of events, so that they can put things together, and this will help them understand how plots work too. So, and then when you're talking with your child back and forth about the book, this is a great way for them to work on their oral expression as well, on their language skills. So there's lots of ways that wordless picture books are great for your kids' early language development. And actually some of them are simple, like this one. A Ball for Daisy is about a little dog named Daisy who has a red ball that he, I guess it's a she, loves. And it sort of takes Daisy and Daisy's owner through a day. What happens to Daisy? What happens to her ball? As you can see, these are in sequence. So you'll help your child understand the order of what's happening here. And there's a little bit of a crisis in the book involving the ball, which gets resolved. So wordless picture books are really a great opportunity to sit down with your child, take your time, and really interpret, understand what's happening in the story. And this is something your child can take the lead on explaining to you. You can give them clues and help point out hints along the way. So this is a great one, especially for younger kids, A Ball for Daisy by Chris Rashka. Another one I really like is Jerry Pinkney, The Lion and the Mouse. And this is his version of that old fable about the lion who spares a mouse that happens to find himself kind of tangled up in the lion's fur. And the lion spares him, and then later on, the mouse has an opportunity to return the favor. So this is completely wordless, and also it's a great story. It's an old fable, and it's a great way for your child to learn how a sequence of event works and practice his interpretive skills. And some of these books, like the Daisy book, A Ball for Daisy, are great for younger kids. There are some wordless picture books that are very sophisticated and are a little bit better for somewhat older kids. This is a beautiful book that I love called Journey by Aaron Becker. And this was a Caldecott Honor book. Actually, I should have mentioned that Daisy was a Caldecott winner, which is the Big Picture Book Award every year. And so A Ball for Daisy got the medal. Pinckney is a much honored illustrator and author. And Journey by Aaron Becker was an honor book for the Caldecott. Then this is a book, it's kind of a more grown-up and sophisticated version of Harold and the Purple Crayon, if you remember that classic about a little boy who has a purple crayon and kind of draws his world. This is about a little girl who's kind of at loose ends, kind of has not much to do. And after casting about a little, trying a couple different activities, she draws herself a magic door. That magic door enters onto a sort of enchanted world where she has a lot of adventures aided by her trusty crayon, which can draw her whatever she needs, whether it's a boat, a hot air balloon. She gets herself out of several jams using her crayon and things that she's drawn. And by the time the book ends, she has found someone else who has some drawing skills. So this is a great book. Like I said, the pictures are beautiful and really worth poring over with your child. And great for inference skills, great for predictions. The next one I like is great for winter. You may know this one. It's The Snowman by Raymond Briggs. It's about 40 years old now. And it's a classic about a little boy who builds a snowman. It's a nice winter story. Gets up in the morning. Again, almost like a graphic novel. Lots of little cells, lots of small pictures. They go in order, so you and your child will learn together what the sequence is. Makes his snowman, comes back home, comes back inside, goes to bed. And the next thing we know, the snowman's alive. The little boy shows the snowman what it's like to be a human, all the things around the house, and the snowman gets to try on some clothes, gets to have a meal, and then when they're finished experiencing all the things that the little boy experiences with his family, the snowman even gets to drive a car, the snowman takes the little boy on an adventure. And because he's snow, he can fly through the snowstorm. So this is a great book, never, even though, like I said, 40 years old, but it is always a good experience with young children. And a much more recent book, also about the snow, that's wordless, is another Caldecott winner called Wolf in the Snow by Matthew Cordell. And this is a great story. This is a little girl. She's at home, goes off to school on a snowy day. We have several pages before we even get the title page. And that gets the story started. So there she goes on the way home from school. It's snowing pretty hard, and there are some wolves. They're out in the snow too. Little girl's working her way towards home. The little wolf falls behind. They encounter each other. The little baby wolf is kind of sad and scared. He's getting stuck in that deep snow. She picks him up, and that has some unforeseen consequences. So this too is a really great book, no matter what the age of your child, to experience with your child, and the interplay between you and your child when you are experiencing these books. Take your time, and it's just a wonderful language and learning experience. Okay, so now that we've done the wordless books, let me tell you about the activity that's going to go with our worded book. In fact, the Goat's Coat is actually in rhyme. to work on fine motor skills. So we'll do that in just a second. Okay, so it's on to Alfonso the goat and his new sweater. So for this activity, you'll need a cardboard tube, toilet paper roll, paper towel roll that you cut down, gift wrap roll that you cut down, any kind of cardboard tube. I also used some construction paper to wrap around it. You don't need to do that. Your child can color the tube instead, although this gives your child some cutting practice, but coloring will give your child some gripping practice. So either way, they'll get some fine motor practice. The other thing I used, you will need some construction paper or paper of some sort for the ears though. And for that, I cut them flat at the bottom and just kind of a petal shaped. Okay. You will also need some cotton balls for Alfonso's little tufts of fur, and some clothespins, which your child will practice pincer grip with for his horns. A hole punch, which you'll probably have to use if your child's strong enough. They can use it, but most kids aren't. So glue stick, which your child will use. Children's scissors, which your child will use if your child is going to cut out the construction paper. And some yarn, ribbon, string to wrap around to make the sweater. Okay, this is probably 5 yards, maybe. You can use less. And I used a marker to draw a little bit on Alfonso's face. So let's show you how we get started with this. As I said, your child can color this, color of choice, or you can wrap around. This is about 6.5 inches long and 4 inches wide, this piece of paper. You can have your child glue the ends to glue it on using the glue stick. I'm just going to use tape right now because it's faster. Okay, so that's our tube. Once we do that, we can work on, I should have mentioned, you'll need a little bit of white paper for the eyes and a little bit of black paper for the eyeball, for the pupil. So I just traced around actually it was an eyeglass repair tube I had, just a little tiny tube. These are about, between 1/4 and 1/2 inch in diameter. Out of some kind of white paper, doesn't much matter what, 2 of them for eyes. And your child, you will have to cut these because they're really small. Use the hole punch for the black part. And your child can use the glue stick, though, to attach them. Okay. Okay. So I've got 2 sticky eyes here. And I'm going to just stick those on. There's one. And there's the other. Okay. Just cut out a little triangle for Alfonso's nose. And again, your child can use the glue stick to put that on. Okay. And I just drew his mouth on with a marker. Your child can do that. And once again, some glue for his little scruff, his little beard. Let's put that on like that. And your child can take, half a cotton ball. If you have some plain cotton or even tissue paper, all that would work fine. Okay, and there's his little beard. And for the ears, just turn down about 1/4 inch at the bottom of each ear, so it'll lie flat against his head and the ear part will stick out. Okay, and I would have your child put some glue along the part you bent over, and then just put those on either side of Alfonso's head. So actually it's better to have the folded part towards the back. The things I like about glue stick is you can just pull it off right away if you haven't done it right, like I just did. Okay, so there's one ear. And do the second one. Okay, so there's Alfonso's goat ears. Now your child can take the clothespin, just put that right on top of where the folded part of the ear is. Okay, now he's got his horns. And a couple of cotton balls together. Put them right up here. Maybe 3 to fill up that hole. Okay. That makes his little fur on the top of his head. And then onto the sweater. I should mention if you don't want to do all the cutting, although the cutting, the gluing is nice practice for your child can also draw the face on. So if you don't need to stick all this stuff on separately, your child can draw everything for the face on there, and you can just stick the cotton on. Although, like I said, it is good gluing practice to attach the features. So now we've got our yarn, and we're going to put Alfonso's sweater on him. Before you do that, you as the adult, should use your scissors, which is over here. Use your adult scissors and just cut a little 1/4 inch or so long snip up the back of the goat. So that's where you're going to start your yarn. You will probably have to do that for your child. Just put it up in that slit so it doesn't slip off when your child winds it. Okay, and then once that's all done, your child is just going to wind around the tube, starting at the bottom. You know what? I'm going to switch the way I'm doing this. It's easier to hold him this way, okay? So wind around the tube, starting at the bottom, just work. Your child will work their way up. Kind of go up as far as the beard and then can start back down again. And if you don't have a lot of yarn in the same color or string or ribbon, whatever, you can use a variety of colors and just stop one and either put a little piece of tape or tuck it underneath and start with a different color, and that'll actually make his sweater look fancier. So when you're towards the end, once again, you're just gonna push that into that little notch that you've made so that the yarn doesn't unwind, okay? And you can either just tuck it in or you can cut it off if there's more left. Okay, so that's our Alfonso the goat and his new sweater, and some good hand-eye coordination, spatial planning as your child uses both hands to wind around and needs to coordinate that action. Pincer practice in the cutting and the clothespins, and gluing practice. So this has got a lot of different fine motor skills involved, but they're all gonna work together to have your child get better at cutting, holding a pencil, all those skills that they'll need the older they get. Okay, so hopefully you will have fun with this with your child and they have a little toy to play with afterwards. And I enjoyed talking about the wordless picture books with you, and we will see you next time. Thanks very much and have a great day.